All right, hey everybody. This is the Boot Podcast. I'm doing these little mini episodes. I don't want to say mini, but shorter episodes, just for more for my TikTok followers, so that I could explain more things in detail, especially certain things that doesn't really can't really send it out as like a cool story. Not everybody has a cool story where you're gonna get it. We could put it in down in 60 seconds. So one of the things that I do want to talk about for this first solo episode, I guess, because if you guys did see my previous episodes, um, I did have Ron on here, and he's busy, but he's coming back. He should be coming back. I hope he does come back if he's hearing this. But whenever he's ready, he's just got a lot of things going on right now. So, but the one thing that I do want to talk about right now is a group that maybe I think many people don't know about, is a group called the Patriot Guard Riders. And the Patriot Guard Riders, they look like a biker gang. They look like Hell's Angels. But they're not a biker gang, and they definitely don't, they state on their website saying, they're not a biker gang, they're an organization, something like that. But they're awesome. I'm gonna tell you that right now. They're freaking awesome. And what they do though is they pretty much they're the Patriot Guard Riders, right? So they pretty much guard military funerals, or even when they come back home from overseas, from deployment. So and they guard them by riding their motorcycles and protecting the convoy. Whether it's a convoy with the funeral detail, or a convoy with the military, or let's say in my case I was in the Marines, so when we're coming back from Iraq, we saw them. That's one of the times I saw them, was that they would block traffic for our convoy so that we could go straight to base. Really cool stuff that they do. A lot more than just that. But this is how they formed. Back in 2005, this is when Iraq was still fairly fresh, I would say. There was this Westbury Baptist Church, I believe it was, and when our troops died in Iraq, these protesters would say that was pretty much like karma, or us. It was the U.S. It was like a spiritual explanation of saying this is what the U.S. gets for tolerating homosexuality. That was their belief, and that's what they protested. And they would go to these funerals of, let's say, somebody that died in Iraq, a U.S. soldier comes back, and they're trying to bury him or her, and they would protest. They would protest and go to these funerals and protest and say, this is the result of the U.S. tolerating homosexuality. Crazy stuff, right? So what the Patriot Guard Riders was formed, and they would literally block the protesters, stand between the protesters and the funeral, and they would drown them out by like waving huge American flags, just to block them out with their bikes and the huge American flags, and they would like sing patriotic songs so they could drown out the chants from these protesters, which is, I don't know what they were chanting, but you could imagine that it's not, it's not pleasant. It's not what you want to hear when you're burying your son or your daughter that just, died in war. So that's what they were doing. That's how they were formed back in 2005. And they do more than just funerals and guarding convoys for troops that come back home. And that's how I saw them. Those were the first two times that I saw them. For the first time I ever saw them, I came back from Okinawa, and they weren't there for. I don't remember seeing them there for the convoy, because I was actually, what do you call that? Advance party. Advance party is when a small group of Marines would go to wherever they're going to, like let's say Okinawa in my case. First, wherever their unit is going, they would send an advance party first, so they could set up shop. They could set up all these things, so when the main unit comes, everything will be pretty much kind of ready, and we're ready to go. So that's advance party. So when I came back from Okinawa, I was also advance party to come back home earlier too, so I didn't get to see them. I don't know if they were there. I don't know if they just do it for specifically for combat. Let's say like for units that's coming back from Iraq or Afghanistan, or do they do it for just any unit that's coming back from overseas? But definitely when we came back from Okinawa, what happened, my Sergeant Stephen Carpenter, man, he was a cool dude. And he has 2 deployments to Iraq. I believe they're both combat tours. He has combat action ribbon. And he survived that, and then we went to Okinawa together. And so during Okinawa is when I got to know him. We trained. It was just my at that time battery. I was with 311 at that time, and he was a really cool dude. But when we came back from Okinawa, he went on leave. I believe this is what happened. This is what I was told. He came back from leave. He was on leave. He went to leave, and he was riding on a jet ski at a lake in California. And the jet ski, what happened? This is what they said. He must have hit a wave, and the jet ski must have hit his chest, knocking him out, and nobody was around there. And so he drowned. It's horrible. So we had to go to his funeral, and his that was I believe that was my first funeral I ever went to. I was 21, so that was my first funeral I ever went to, and it was a military funeral. And I was on the funeral detail, so I had to, of course, I wore my dress blues. And just seeing the coffin draped with the American flag over it, that affected me from the jump. Right from then on, I was like, wow, like this is you wanted to cry. I wanted to cry, but you can't cry. I feel like you can't cry, not especially when you're in uniform. I don't know, I don't know if that's a thing, but I couldn't cry. I wanted to, I just couldn't. I couldn't let it out. Might have had shed a little tear, but I was holding it back so much, and man, that's tough. So on the way to the funeral, we would see. That's when I saw the Patriot Guard riders. I would see these motorcycles. They look okay. They look like Sons of Anarchy, Hell's Angel, and they would just ride. I don't know how. I couldn't even see how many there were, but they would block if we're on the highway, they would block the entrance of the highway so that nobody would come in between the convoy, and they kept us together and protected us pretty much. If anybody, let's just say, wanted to attack us for some reason, they were there. They were there to to get into between them, and I strongly believe that they would stop something like that. That's how dedicated they are. These guys are volunteers, and you don't need to, on their website I saw it, you don't need to be a biker associated with any kind of biker associations, I guess. You just I think the main criteria that says on their website is that you gotta love America, something like that, right? Let me read it. Okay, so as our membership has grown, so has the scope of our mission. We also honor first responders as well as our military veterans. Additionally, we can help an active help on the home front, which is HOTH program, which provides assistance to our veterans and their families. So they do a lot. What we commonly get asked, how do I join and what is required? See, okay, here we go. As for requirements, anyone and everyone can join and stand with us. You don't need to be a veteran. You don't need to ride a bike. All you need is respect. All you need is respect for our military, veterans, and our first responders, and desire to show that respect to them and their families. It's freaking awesome, I think, right? Yeah, they're really cool. And that's, just there are, I want to say there are many groups. I think there's so many groups that I don't even know about that deserves some recognition, some kind of tribute, or just somebody talk to them. So, talk about them. There's these people in Maryland. I believe there was like a documentary on Netflix or something like that, where it's a documentary on. There's these people in Bangor, Maine, and in Bangor, Maine, that's where we would stop by before we deploy. So before we leave the country, right? If we're going from California to Iraq, we would always stop by Bangor, Maine, right? And that's where, I'm pretty sure that's where definitely Marines stop by before they leave the country. And that's the next stop, and that's the first stop in country when we're returning home. So Bangor, Maine is pretty important. And they have these volunteers again. These are all volunteers that just love their country and their military. They volunteer. When we get there early in the morning, like it doesn't matter what time it is, they're there. They're older people. Some are grandmas and grandpas. I think majority of them are, but they would have cell phones for us at that time. I don't think cell phones was that popular. It's 2007. So we had cell phones, but we didn't carry them. So because we were going to Iraq, and unless I didn't at least. And I remember they would have cell phones for us to use to call home. It's like snacks and food. Just even having somebody there to greet us to leave, like, okay, bye, and they would line up before we get on the plane by the gate. They would line up and say bye, because our families weren't there. And it's pretty crazy because that's the last time you're gonna be in the United States, in your country. So it's good to see fellow Americans rooting for you before you get on that plane. It feels great. It feels freaking awesome to have people from fellow Americans rooting for you to go fight. It's one of the best things that they could think of. So you get on the plane, and then you go out, and then you go to Iraq, and then you come back home if you for the lucky ones, and they're there again. They're there, the volunteers. Maybe it's not the same exact people, but I believe it's like one person gets contact. Okay, hey, because I would think that it's fairly secretive on when units come and go, but somebody has to inform them, hey, yeah, there is a unit coming. Whether it's Army, Air Force, Marines, Navy, there is a unit come in or go in, and somebody from that group must get a message or email or something, and then that's when they form up and come. And when you come back home and you get to see them again, it's just like it's big smiles, it's huge smiles. It might not be the same people, but it's just Americans. You see Americans, and it's a great thing that what they're doing. And another, I forgot what they're called. This of course this episode wasn't even about them, but I'll get more into them about later too. So yeah, there are these groups. This first episode, I'm just kind of brushing through what I want to do, right, with this from here on to the next episode. These gonna be little short episodes, very cash. So and give me feedback on what you want to hear, what. There's so many people on TikTok. Well, first of all, TikTok, what I'm known for on TikTok is for my tributes and military content. And a lot of people ask me to do tributes, and they just give me names and names. There's so many members of our troops that deserve, just a little piece at least of airtime, some recognition, and I'm trying to get through that. And this is another avenue. So just let me know what you want to hear more of. I'll go back. We do whatever the hell we want. So, if you want me to go back and touch on more things that I touched on before, whether it's on TikTok, Instagram, or on this podcast, just let me know. You could DM me on Instagram at Terry Kim USA, TerryKim USA. And that's my handle for TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. I think that's about it, right? And Clubhouse. Oh, Clubhouse is a new one. Another thing, so on this show, I want to talk something along those lines, and then I want to talk about, again, more tributes. And one thing that I wanted to talk about was, or who I wanted to talk about was Ross A. McGinnis. He's a specialist Ross A. McGinnis in the United States Army. I did a TikTok on him, a tribute on TikTok for him. And it's a crazy story because, first of all, Specialist Ross A. McGinnis, I believe he was a 4th Medal of Honor recipient in the Iraq War. Right? Let me double check. And he was a machine gunner. Well, I don't know if he was specifically a machine gunner, but he was manning the 50 cal machine gun on a Humvee on a turret. So he was on the turret, and while they're doing operations in Iraq, somebody threw a grenade into the turret hole, right, in the gunner's hole, and he saw it coming off, of course, obviously. And there's 3 other, I believe there's 3 other soldiers inside the Humvee, and so he saw the grenade come in. He saw the grenade fall in. Obviously, he's on top. Just to paint a picture, you have some shields around you, and your vision is, you don't get to see everything unless you're standing up fully and then that means your head is outside of the shield, and you're just gonna be looking around. But normally we don't do that. And I was a turret gunner for a little bit too. My first firefight was on a turret, and so you're normally kind of sitting down, especially if you're on the move, right? Which is you're moving, and I don't know how this happened, right? Because I've been trying to look up for the details of the story. What happened? But they don't state. I seen a bunch of stories. His fellow soldiers, some of them talking about it in an article. And so, anyways, the grenade fell in. Somebody threw in a freaking grenade. The other passengers didn't see it. He saw it. He yells out grenade. It's like grenade. And the motherfuckers are like, where? It's probably one of the scariest shit ever. One of the scariest, right? It's fucking war, so it's probably one of the scariest shit ever. Where you're like sardines in a can. You got nowhere else to go. You probably have combat locks on the vehicle. What combat locks are? They're these heavy. The doors are freaking heavy because they're armored, and then you got locks inside. That's like a vault. And you're driving, and especially if they're on the move, and your gunner is yelling grenade, and you're in war. It's crazy. That's one of the craziest shit ever. And it's not something to joke around about, right? You're not gonna be like, oh, shut up, yeah, he's joking. No, it's probably like, what the fuck? Where, right? And what happened is, what the story was, that it landed right between the driver and the assistant driver, the passenger, right? It landed right between them, right between the Humvee. There's like this massive crate where you put your radio and all these other equipment, Blue Force tracker if you have one. So it's like it's fairly wide gap between the passenger and the driver. It's a huge gap. Humvees are huge. I mean, they're very wide, but it's not roomy at all. The Humvee might be, interior might be spacious, like it has a lot of space, but the seat is like it's like, man, a foot wide. I don't know. I felt like a foot wide, but then you have it feels like a foot wide because you have all your armor on, you have all your ammo and all your all your setup, your build, your rifle. It just gets packed real easily. You feel cramped. It's cozy, I'll tell you that much. It's very cozy. And so the grenade fell right between them. They can't see. And you got your helmet on, and you can't see where the grenade is. That's not enough time. So after you yelling grenade, there's about what, 5, who knows how many, this probably happened all in a matter of seconds. And I think that's one of the things where when I do tell a TikTok story, you can't really tell the urgency of it. Can't, like, the story doesn't show so much of how urgent, like how much chaos is in this short period of time. And just because I remember someone saying like, oh, how does he have all that time to yell out grenade and then to this? That happens all in a matter of seconds, man. There is no time. And what he did was, his back was, from what I know, his back, the turret gun was on the ass end of the Humvee, right? So facing the opposite direction of the front. So his back was turned. He could see it from peeking over his shoulder. He saw the grenade. He yelled out grenade. And I believe he either took out the strap, because we have a sitting strap, a strap that we could sit on, and it's kind of like a swing, right? And it's not very comfortable. So you kind of either stand or you sit. And I want to say he might have been standing in this case. And the easiest thing for him to do would, if he knows where the grenade is what he did. He pretty much just went back into the into the Humvee and he pretty much smothered the grenade with his body. He smothered it with his body, like he just covered it with his back, and then it detonated. It blew up, saving everybody else that's in the vehicle, because he absorbed all of the blast. It's crazy. It's he was 19. So, to have man, we get excited when I play Call of Duty. And one of my buddies saves me because I'm down, and he saves me at the right moment. I get excited. I'm happy, right? Think about your buddy at 19 saving your ass from a grenade by taking the whole force of the explosion. So it's probably loud in there. Boom. ears are ringing. It's not like it blew and then they were fine. No, they're probably hurt too. The passengers I'm talking about, they were probably all fucked up. Not to the point. Well, they survived. Of course, and thanks to Specialist McGinnis. And here's another crazy part. So I made that TikTok. And when I make when I make these TikToks, man, it hurts, man. It hurts every time I make them because it just sucks. But it's also it's like it feels like it has to be done, right? I don't know how to explain it. I'm surprised nobody else is doing it. I don't want to say that nobody else is doing it. I don't think anybody else is delivering the message so that other people would care. And I'm not saying they're doing a poor job. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying we're human, and people just don't care about certain things. That's not happening. That doesn't directly affect them. But to see all these TikTok users, followers of mine, really appreciating these stories of these heroes, I gotta keep doing it, right? It shows that people do care. So, anyways, what happened is that after I posted this TikTok, I remember the next morning I woke up and I saw my one of my notifications said, I believe somebody added me, right? I don't even know how that still works. And it was, I forget her name, but she was the wife of one of the soldiers inside that vehicle, and she's a TikTok creator as well. And it sucks that I forget her at name, but it was a nice TikTok too. What she did, it was a duet of my TikTok that I uploaded of Specialist McGinnis. It was really nice, and what it was her responding to my TikTok, showing that she was explaining that her ex-husband was one of the soldiers in that vehicle that Specialist McGinnis saved, and she has a daughter with him, and it was really cute. It's just the daughter is, she's like, thanks to Specialist McGinnis that she has her daughter. And it was nice. It was I would say it's just one of those things like, whoa, everyone's kind of connected through Ross McGinnis. It was crazy. I mean, we two different people kind of, and I got to share that. You could see all the comments. It was very positive. I really enjoyed that moment. So this is it. I think this is the tone of the show. Let me know, man. I don't know, right? You guys let me know what you guys want to hear more, and I'll consider it. No, I don't know, right? So, but this is it. I'll bring you guys, twice a week, once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, depending. These little short mini podcasts, and hopefully when Ron, who is my co-host, he's very busy right now. Hopefully he gets to come back whenever. It's always, doors are open, and hopefully we have more guests later on. Not even more guests, a guest. I could have many people on, actually. It's just that I don't want to do it through Zoom or some shit like that. I want to do it where they in person. It's kind of weird, I think. So everyone, I'm gonna chop this up too. I'm gonna chop this up and post it on TikTok. So whether you get to see it on TikTok or hear it directly on, I guess, YouTube, or hear it on Spotify, the Boot Podcast, you could get it. All right. Thanks for listening.